Hi, welcome back guys. This is your Sensei, back with another fanfiction. This is the first part of What If Naruto's Sister Was a Prodigy? Now before starting, please give this video a like and subscribe to the channel if you want more videos like this. Now let's get into the fanfic. Yun wonders where she is and who he is. The man informs her that she is dead and that he is God. Surprised by this revelation, Yun struggles to comprehend her situation and asks what she is supposed to do now. The man expresses his regret but shares that he has good news. Yun looks at him with hope as he presents her with two options. She can either be reborn in the world of Naruto or rest in peace for the rest of her life. Yun ponders what this means. The man clarifies that she can be reborn in a world of ninjas known in her previous life as Naruto. Excited, Yun expresses her desire to be reborn in Naruto but requests a favor. The man asks what she wants. Yun requests some abilities, and the man agrees, stating that he can grant her 7 wishes. With joy, Yun lists her desires: the Byakugan and the Sharingan, 4 of the 5 basic elements, to be the greatest prodigy of Konoha, exceptional skills in Kenjutsu, and excellent control over chakra. The man agrees to grant her wishes, and Yun expresses her gratitude. In Konohagakure, a blonde man and a red-haired woman find themselves in an unfamiliar place. They are Minato Namikaze, the 4th Hokage, and Kushina Uzumaki. Kushina, feeling anxious, warns Minato not to do anything reckless. Minato reassures her that they are almost there. The sound of a baby's cries fills the room, and a nurse announces that they have a boy. Minato, filled with happiness, receives the child and names him Naruto Namikaze Uzumaki. As Minato hands his son to Kushina, he senses a powerful chakra presence. Suddenly, a masked figure appears, demanding the Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi in exchange for the safety of Minato's child. Kushina pleads for Naruto's safety, and Minato reluctantly agrees to the terms. He takes Naruto home to Konoha, where he sees the Kyuubi threatening to destroy the village. Quickly, he uses his jutsu to divert the Kyuubi away from the village. Minato informs Kushina that they must seal the Kyuubi within Naruto. Kushina protests, but Minato insists it is their only option. He prepares to seal the beast within their son, but the Kyuubi attacks fiercely, trying to stop him. Just before the Kyuubi can strike Minato, 2 of his Umbu appear to assist him. Minato is taken aback by their presence. One Umbu expresses regret for not being able to stand by idly, while the other asks Minato to protect their daughter, who they left in a refuge with some Chunin. They whisper her name, Yun Uchiha Hyuga. Understanding the gravity of the situation, Minato vows not to let their sacrifice be in vain. After an intense battle, Minato and Kushina manage to seal the Kyuubi within Naruto, but they sacrifice themselves in the process. In the aftermath, Hiruzen Sarutobi appears at the site where the Kyuubi was sealed, looking troubled. Kushina, in her final moments, urges Sarutobi to protect their son, who is now the new Jinchuriki of Konoha. She mentions that some Umbu sacrificed themselves to save Minato and reveals the existence of their daughter, Yun Uchiha. As Kushina passes away after her last words, Sarutobi looks at the child with pity, promising to protect him. A week later in Konohagakure, Sarutobi and the council discuss Naruto's future. One council member suggests they should eliminate the demon, while another proposes giving him to Danzo to turn him into a weapon. Danzo agrees to do so, claiming it would be for the village's sake. Sarutobi interrupts, asserting that the 4th sacrificed himself to save them all, and they cannot harm an innocent child. Another council member insists that Naruto is a monster, reminding them of the destruction he caused. Sarutobi firmly declares that Naruto will be raised in an orphanage, and anyone who speaks of the incident to future generations will face severe consequences. He also states that anyone wishing to adopt Naruto must seek his permission directly. With authority, Sarutobi silences the council and takes Naruto, Yun, and other orphans to the orphanage. Yun feels disheartened at the thought of living in the orphanage. This marks the beginning of a new chapter in their lives. Chapter End. Konohagakure no Sato. 2 ANBU members were discussing the attack of the 9 tails that had occurred 3 months prior. They were Itachi Uchiha, one of the prodigies of the Uchiha clan, and Shursui Uchiha, also known as Shunshin no Shursui, the other prodigy of the clan. Itachi mentioned that he assumed Shisui had heard the rumors. Shisui confirmed that he had heard about the attack, specifically the rumor that an Uchiha had controlled the Nine Tails, leading to the clan being ostracized from the village. Shisui added that there were also rumors about the child of the Nine Tails being in an orphanage with many other orphans affected by the attack. An ANBU appeared and informed them that the Hokage required their presence. Both Itachi and Shisui acknowledged the request and vanished in a swirl of leaves. In the Hokage's tower, Sarutobi addressed Itachi and Shisui, stating that he had a request for them. They greeted him respectfully. Sarutobi noted that they were likely aware of the Jinchuriki of the Nine Tails and asked them to monitor Naruto at the orphanage for a week, reporting back on how he was being treated. After a week of observation at the orphanage, Itachi reported to the Hokage that they had not noticed any issues with how the caregivers treated Naruto, though Shisui expressed concern that it was due to him being a newborn. Sarutobi commended them on their work and allowed them to leave. Before departing, Shisui inquired about a newborn with the Uchiha clan symbol at the orphanage. Sarutobi revealed that the baby was named Yun Uchiha, whose parents had died saving the fourth Hokage and his wife. Itachi and Shisui were surprised by this revelation. Shisui then made a request to adopt the little Uchiha. Itachi reminded him that as an ANBU, he could not do that. Sarutobi explained that he could not allow Shisui to adopt Yun because he was still young and an active ninja. Shisui was disappointed, but Sarutobi proposed that if Shisui could convince his parents to adopt Yun, he would allow it. Eager to follow through, Shisui hurried home to ask for his parents' permission to adopt Yun. He approached them with a request. His parents asked what he needed, and he explained that he wanted them to adopt a baby Uchiha from the orphanage. They questioned his motives, and Shisui expressed that Yun had no family and that he felt a special connection to her. After some consideration, his parents agreed and asked for her. Shisui replied that her name was Yun Uchiha. A week later, Shisui's parents officially adopted Yun, and Shisui went to the orphanage to bring her home. The caregiver informed him that everything was ready for him to take the little girl. Shisui thanked her with a big smile. At Shisui's home, the family was filled with joy. Fast forward 2 years and 9 months, and we see a young Yun speaking with her older brother, Shisui. She asked him to train her, explaining that she wanted to become a great ninja to protect him and their parents. Shisui, surprised, agreed but reminded her that as a member of the Uchiha clan, she first needed to master the clan's signature technique, the Great Fireball. Yun was excited and eager to learn. What Shisui did not know was that Yun, having been reborn, possessed some knowledge of the Naruto world, although she was unaware of events beyond the announcement of the fifth Hokage. Additionally, due to the gifts she received from a higher power, she already had the 3-Tomo Sharingan and Byakugan. Shisui led her to a lake, ready to begin her training. He instructed her to gather elemental chakra for the fire technique using specific hand signs and to release it from her mouth. When Yun asked how she would know if she had the fire element, Shisui reassured her that all Uchihas had a strong affinity for this element, so she had nothing to worry about. He then demonstrated the hand signs for the Great Fireball. Yun greeted her brother with enthusiasm, excited to share her latest achievement. She had successfully created a fireball on her first attempt, a magnificent sphere measuring 4 meters in diameter. Shisui, impressed, praised her efforts. He handed her a sleeveless shirt adorned with the Uchiha symbol, a token of her success in passing the clan's test. Yun beamed with joy, grateful for the recognition. As they made their way home, Shisui noticed Yun watching him with admiration. He smiled and informed her that he had someone special to introduce her to. With a swift movement, he used a technique to transport them to Itachi's home. Upon arrival, Itachi greeted Shisui and inquired about his visit. Shisui introduced Yun, who stepped out from behind him, eager to meet Itachi. She politely expressed her pleasure in meeting him, and Itachi returned the sentiment, though he was taken aback by Yun's attire. Itachi questioned Shisui about the Uchiha symbol on Yun's shirt, reminding him that she needed to complete the clan's test first. Shisui, filled with pride, explained that Yun had indeed passed that very afternoon. Itachi was astonished, unable to believe that someone so young could achieve such a feat. Shisui shared his own surprise, admitting he hadn't expected her to succeed. In a hushed tone, Itachi remarked that this could signify the emergence of a new prodigy within the clan. Shisui affirmed that his sister was truly remarkable. At that moment, two children emerged from a nearby room and approached Itachi. Yun recognized one of them immediately as Sasuke Uchiha, while the other was a girl named Ayumi. Itachi introduced them as his friends and their sister. Sasuke, with a hint of arrogance, declared his name and age. Ayumi followed suit, introducing herself as well. Itachi then introduced Shisui and Yun, who also stated her age proudly. Sasuke and Ayumi noticed the Uchiha symbol on Yun's back. Sasuke, feeling superior, accused her of being presumptuous for wearing the clan symbol before mastering the Great Fireball technique. Itachi intervened, reminding Sasuke that Yun had completed the test that day and suggested he apologize. Sasuke refused, insisting he would surpass her and become more impressive. Yun remained calm, having anticipated such a reaction. Ayumi apologized on her brother's behalf, explaining that Sasuke's status as the clan leader's son had made him a bit arrogant. Yun reassured her that it was no trouble. Shisui announced it was time for them to leave, and with a swift movement, they vanished. Yun eagerly asked her brother when her training would begin. Shisui informed her that they would start with basic training the following day. The next morning, Shisui began teaching Yun how to throw kunai and shuriken, activating his Sharingan to demonstrate. Yun, curious, asked how he could do that with his eyes, even though she had a basic understanding. Shisui explained that the eye he used was called the Sharingan, a special ability of the Uchiha clan. He mentioned that while everyone could potentially unlock it, not everyone succeeded. Yun inquired about how she could unlock it, to which Shisui replied that she was still too young, but it involved concentrating chakra in the eyes. Determined, Yun followed his instructions, and to her surprise, a white Sharingan with 3 tomo appeared in her eyes. She feigned innocence, asking if she had succeeded. Shisui was astonished, unable to comprehend how she had activated the Sharingan, especially in its unique color. Yun, realizing she had forgotten that detail, listened as Shisui examined her eyes with a kunai. He urged her not to reveal her Sharingan to anyone for the time being. With a quick movement, he left to consult the Hokage. At the Hokage's office, Shisui knocked on the door and was invited in. He explained to Sarutobi that Yun had awakened a 3-tomo Sharingan. Sarutobi was shocked and asked who else knew about it. Shisui replied that he was the only one aware, but there was another issue: Yun's Sharingan was white. Sarutobi speculated that Yun might be the first to exhibit a Sharingan of a different color. He then revealed that Yun's father was a Hyuga and her mother an Uchiha, suggesting that the two dojutsu might have fused. He assigned Shisui the important task of teaching Yun how to use her unique dojutsu, emphasizing the need for secrecy regarding her abilities. After the revelation about Yun Uchiha Hyuga's Sharingan, her brother Shisui was tasked with training her to control this incredible dojutsu. A week after the conversation with the Hokage, a girl was seen training with a dark-haired young man. Shisui noted how much Yun had improved in such a short time, and she beamed with a bright smile in response. He informed her that she had mastered throwing kunai and shuriken, and he was ready to show her something new. Shisui pulled out special papers from his pocket, explaining that if she channeled her chakra through them, they would reveal her elemental affinity. Curious, Yun asked about Shisui's affinities. He demonstrated by letting a bit of chakra flow into the paper, which split into 2, one burned while the other crumpled. Impressed, Yun exclaimed that he had 3 elements. Shisui encouraged her to try, noting that they already knew she at least had a fire element. As Yun channeled her chakra into the paper, Shisui was taken aback when it split into 3 pieces. One burned, another crumpled, and the last one became wet. Yun asked if she had done well, and Shisui expressed his astonishment, stating that it was incredible since he himself did not possess 4 elements, and only the Hokage had all 5. He pondered how it was possible for a 4-year-old to have such abilities. When Yun called out to him, Shisui acknowledged her talent but said they would have to end the training for the day as he needed to see the Hokage. With a swift movement, he disappeared. In the Hokage's office, someone knocked on the door. Sarutobi invited Shisui in, and Shisui began to report on Yun's progress. Sarutobi anticipated that he was going to discuss Yun, and Shisui confirmed that she had shown great mastery of her Sharingan, which, as they suspected, was fused with the Byakugan, granting her nearly 360-degree vision. Sarutobi was impressed, but Shisui had more to share. He explained that he had taught Yun about elemental chakra, revealing that she possessed 4 elemental affinities. Sarutobi, taken aback, realized that if what Shisui said was true, they would need to keep Yun's abilities a secret of the highest level. Shisui, equally amazed, requested permission to train Yun in elemental jutsus. Sarutobi agreed, instructing Shisui to train her in taijutsu for a year before introducing elemental jutsus. Shisui acknowledged the plan and left with a swift movement. Sarutobi reflected that this could be the beginning of a new prodigy for Konoha. Shisui returned home to find Yun in her room. She eagerly asked how his meeting with the Hokage had gone. Shisui replied that they had discussed her new training plan, and Yun thanked him. He informed her that he would train her in the clan's taijutsu for a year before teaching her elemental jutsus. Excited, Yun responded enthusiastically. A year later, a slightly taller Yun with a more developed physique was seen sparring with Shisui. He complimented her improvement, but she reminded him to watch his back. As she attempted to strike him, he vanished in a swift movement. Shisui reassured her that she still had room for growth, and Yun expressed her disappointment at needing more training. He encouraged her, noting that she was already at the level of a genin. Yun insisted that it wasn't enough to protect the people she cared about. Shisui chuckled, reminding her that she was only 5 years old. Curious about what they would do next, Yun learned that Shisui would start teaching her some jutsus. Her eyes sparkled with excitement at the prospect of learning the Shunshin technique. Shisui explained that he would begin with some C and B rank elemental jutsus. With that, their training in ninjutsu commenced. A year passed, and their journey continued. It is important to note that Yun has no knowledge of the Naruto Shippuden saga, so she is unaware of the Uchiha Massacre. During her final year of training with Shisui, Yun learned several jutsus: Shadow Clone, Fire Release, Great Fire Dragon Technique, Water Release, Water Dragon Bullet Technique, Water Prison Technique, Crow Summoning Technique, Fire Release, Great Fireball Technique, and Fire Release, Dragon Fire Technique. Shisui informed Yun that their training had come to an end. Yun was in disbelief, expressing her reluctance to accept this conclusion. Shisui, however, reassured her before disappearing in a flash. In the following months, Yun noticed that both Shisui and Itachi seemed more distant. When Shisui met Itachi, he apologized for being late, explaining he had been with Yun. Itachi asked if Shisui was prepared, and Shisui confirmed that they would need to execute their plan in 2 days. Itachi then vanished in a flurry of crows, and Shisui followed suit. The next day, 2 Umbu members were in the Hokage's office. Sarutobi expressed his regret that it had come to this, but Shisui reassured him that they would begin the plan the following day. Itachi remained silent, while Danzo, who had overheard their conversation, devised a plan of his own. The following day, Shisui confronted Danzo, expressing his anger at the betrayal of their village. Danzo dismissed his words, claiming it was pointless to waste time on a lost cause. However, Danzo underestimated Shisui's power, which was greater than he anticipated. Eventually, Shisui collapsed from physical exertion. Danzo, realizing he could not let such power go to waste, took one of Shisui's eyes. Before he could take the second, Shisui used the last of his chakra to perform a final teleportation. On a cliff, Shisui expressed his regret to Itachi, stating he could not assist him on the mission. Itachi insisted on taking him to the hospital, but Shisui refused, determined not to let Danzo obtain his other Sharingan. Shisui asked Itachi for one last favor, to protect Yun and pass on his Sharingan when the time came. Itachi agreed, understanding the gravity of the request. In a tragic turn, Shisui, who had raised Yun, leaped from the cliff, drowning in the depths below. Itachi rushed to the Hokage's office, delivering the devastating news of Shisui's death. Sarutobi was in disbelief and inquired about the circumstances. Itachi explained that the mission could not proceed without Shirsue's eyes. Danzo proposed a drastic solution to prevent a coup, but Sarutobi hesitated, insisting there had to be another way. Itachi urged them to do what was necessary for the village, and Sarutobi reluctantly assigned him a new mission, to eliminate the Uchiha clan. Itachi understood the implications of this mission and acknowledged that he would have to leave the village for its well-being. Danzo urged him to prepare, and Itachi agreed before disappearing. That night, Ayumi and Yun returned to the Uchiha complex after training. Yun sensed something was off, noting the eerie silence. As they approached, they detected the scent of blood. Alarmed, they hurried to Ayumi's home, only to find Sasuke paralyzed in the living room, distraught over Itachi's actions. Ayumi was in shock, and Yun demanded to know Shirsue's whereabouts. Itachi coldly revealed that Shirsue was dead, leaving Yun in disbelief. Itachi then explained his reasoning, claiming it was to prove his strength. With those final words, Itachi revealed his Mangekyo Sharingan to the three children, showing Ayumi and Sasuke how he had killed their parents, while Yun witnessed Shirsue's demise. This traumatic experience awakened Ayumi's 3-Tomo Sharingan, Sasuke's 2-Tomo Sharingan, and unlocked Yun's Mangekyo Sharingan. The next day, Sarutobi was horrified by the actions Itachi had taken to protect the village. An UMBU member reported finding 3 children in Itachi's home. Sarutobi inquired about their identities, learning that they were Sasuke and Ayumi Uchiha, siblings of Itachi, along with Yun Uchiha, Shirsue's sister. Sarutobi ordered them to be taken to the Hokage Tower. An hour later, the 3 Uchiha children sat with expressions of sorrow. Sarutobi expressed his condolences, and the children remained silent. He informed Sasuke and Ayumi that they would be given an apartment in a nearby building, while Yun would receive one in the same complex. A month later, Yun, Sasuke, and Ayumi found themselves in the Hokage's office. Sarutobi announced that they would begin their training at the Shinobi Academy the following day. After the Uchiha massacre, Sasuke, Ayumi, and Yun moved into an apartment provided by the Hokage. On the first day of the academy, Yun and Ayumi walked towards the school, receiving sympathetic looks from the villagers. However, this experience brought them closer together, helping them overcome the trauma caused by Itachi. Sasuke, on the other hand, remained distant, consumed by thoughts of revenge against his brother. Yun asked Ayumi if she was nervous, to which Ayumi replied that she was only worried about Sasuke. She noticed he seemed more withdrawn, as if her presence reminded him of the past. Yun reassured Ayumi that he just needed time to heal. At the academy, Irika introduced himself as their new teacher. He instructed the students to introduce themselves, starting with the civilian students and then the clan heirs. After the introductions, Irika began a lengthy and tedious lesson on shinobi history, which was followed by a break for the new students. Irika announced that they would have a test to assess their knowledge after the break. As he left the classroom, the students began chatting among themselves. True to the original story, Sasuke attracted many admirers. Yun commented on Sasuke's popularity, and Ayumi speculated that he was likely frustrated. Before they could continue their conversation, a group of boys approached Ayumi and Yun, asking for their names and if they would like to train with them. Yun suggested they leave, and with a quick movement, they vanished, surprising everyone in the classroom. When Irika returned, he called for silence and explained that they would have a small test to evaluate their ninja skills. The test would involve throwing kunai and shuriken. After Irika's explanation, everyone took their turns. The results were as follows. Yun Uchiha, 15-15. Ayumi Uchiha, 14-15. Sasuke Uchiha, 12-15. Kiba Inazuka, 12-15. Hinata Hyuga, 12-15. Ino Yamanaka, 10-15. Shikamaru, 0-15. Naruto Uzumaki, 8-15. Choji Akimichi, 9-15. Sakura Haruno, 3-15. After this test, which marked the beginning of many shinobi careers, time flew by. Yun learned a great deal about the shinobi world, having had little prior knowledge before her reincarnation. 5 years later, the final exams approached. Irika announced that it was the last day of the academy, and they would conduct tests to determine who would pass and who would need to repeat the year. The tests included throwing kunai and shuriken, 3 academy jutsus, and a series of matches to decide the top student. Additionally, there would be a chance to showcase a personal jutsu for extra points in front of their parents and the Hokage. The students responded enthusiastically. From this point on, only the best results would be mentioned. In the throwing test, Yun Uchiha, 30-30. Ayumi Uchiha, 28-30. Sasuke Uchiha, 27-30. Kiba Inuzuka, 26-30. Hinata Hyuga, 28-30. Shino Aburame, 26-30. Naruto Uzumaki, 20-30. Next came the Academy Jutsus, where all the clan heirs and Naruto passed. Following that were the matches. Irika explained the rules. No ninjutsu above rank C, no killing or using sharp ninja tools, and no dijitsu. The matches would be separated by gender, with the finals featuring the best from each group. The matches began with the girls. The first match was Yun Uchiha versus Sakura Haruno. Sakura warned Yun to surrender, claiming she would defeat her and be on the same team as Sasuke. Yun ignored her completely. When Irika signaled the start, Sakura charged at Yun for a taijutsu fight, but Yun was already behind her, landing a swift blow that knocked Sakura out instantly. Irika declared Yun the winner and called for the next match between Ayumi and Hinata. Both girls remained silent until the match began. Hinata launched an attack using her clan's taijutsu, and Ayumi struggled to evade her strikes. They exchanged compliments on their improvements during the fight, but ultimately, Hinata won when Ayumi broke the rules by activating her Sharingan. Irika announced Hinata as the winner due to Ayumi's use of a Dijitsu. Ayumi felt disappointed, wishing for a chance to face Yun. Yun reassured her that they would have another opportunity in the future. The next match featured Ino Yamanaka against a civilian, which resulted in a decisive victory for Ino. Irika called for the final contestants, and 2 civilians entered the arena, putting on a lackluster performance until one won by sheer luck. Irika then announced Yun versus Ino. Ino warned Yun to surrender, claiming her clan's jutsu would be too powerful. Yun replied that they would see. When the match began, Yun quickly performed her brother's signature jutsu, disappearing in a flash and knocking Ino down in an instant. Irika declared Yun the winner. The final match was between Hinata and a civilian, who withdrew immediately. Irika announced that the last battle would be between Hinata and Yun. Yun faced Hinata, who struggled to land a hit. After 10 minutes, Hinata was exhausted, while Yun continued to evade her attacks. Yun decided it was time to end the match, disappearing and delivering a swift blow to Hinata's neck, rendering her unconscious. Irika announced Yun as the winner. In the next chapter, the focus would shift to the boys' matches, jutsu demonstrations, and team assignments. Irika announced the start of the children's combat matches, beginning with Sasuke Uchiha against Naruto Uzumaki, followed by Shino Aburame vs Kiba Inuzuka, and Choji Akimichi against Shikamaru Nara. As the first match commenced, Naruto charged at Sasuke, attempting to land a hit, but Sasuke easily dodged. Sasuke taunted Naruto, suggesting he should give up, while Naruto declared his determination to become Hokage one day. In a swift move, Sasuke vanished and struck Naruto in the stomach, leaving him breathless. He questioned how someone as weak as Naruto could aspire to be Hokage. Sasuke continued to press his advantage, and Irika had to intervene to stop the fight, declaring Sasuke the winner and sending Naruto to the infirmary. Next, Irika introduced the match between Shino Aburame and Kiba Inuzuka. Shino admitted his lack of specialization in taijutsu and that his insects were mostly lethal. Irika nodded, allowing Choji and Shikamaru to enter the ring. As the match began, Shikamaru cleverly stepped out of the ring to avoid fighting his friend, leading Irika to declare Choji the winner. The next match featured Sasuke against Kiba. Kiba launched a direct attack, but Sasuke, with a bit of effort, managed to win the taijutsu battle. Irika announced Sasuke as the winner, leaving only Sasuke and Choji to face off. Utilizing his speed, Sasuke struck and dodged constantly, ultimately pushing Choji out of the combat area. Irika declared Sasuke the winner once again. After a brief break, Iruka called for the final match between Yun Uchiha and Sasuke Uchiha. As the match began, Sasuke proclaimed his intent to prove himself as the true prodigy of the Uchiha clan, while Yun countered that everyone knew a Yumi was better. Provoked, Sasuke attempted to strike Yun, but she skillfully evaded him using the Shunshin technique she had mastered thanks to Shursui. Frustrated, Sasuke accused her of fleeing like her brother. Yun remained silent as Sasuke continued to insult her brother, claiming he was weak and responsible for their family's tragedy. Sasuke then asked Iruka if they could use their Jujutsu, to which Yun agreed. Sasuke activated his Sharingan, but even with it, he couldn't touch Yun. In response, Yun activated her own Sharingan, using a technique that changed her eye color to avoid drawing attention. Sasuke, eager to engage, charged at Yun, but she easily blocked and countered his attacks. He insulted her, claiming she merely imitated her brother's weakness. In a moment of anger, Yun whispered for him to be quiet before activating her Mangekyo Sharingan, trapping Sasuke in an illusion. In this illusion, Sasuke found himself confronted by Itachi, who taunted him about his weakness. Meanwhile, in the real world, Iruka noticed Sasuke had fallen unconscious and quickly took him to the infirmary. He then announced that those wishing to earn more points could perform a jutsu in front of their parents and the Hokage. As the students gathered at the academy entrance, they saw a small stage set up for the demonstrations, with the Hokage and the parents of the ninjas present. Iruka began the demonstrations, with each student showcasing the jutsu of their respective clan, followed by some civilian techniques. When it was Yun's turn, she performed the water dragon bullet technique, impressing the clan leaders and the Hokage with her skill, especially for someone just out of the academy. Iruka concluded the day's events, stating that those with their ninja headbands would learn about team formations the following day. In the Hokage Tower, Sarutobi gathered the Jounin to discuss team formations. Kurinai expressed her desire to have Hinata Hyuga, Kiba Inuzuka, and Shino Aburame for a tracking team. Asuma requested the trio of Ino, Shikamaru, and Choji, while Kakashi insisted on having all three Uchihas. Sarutobi reminded Kakashi that if he wanted the Uchihas, he would need to include Naruto in case the seal became unstable. Kakashi agreed to form a team of 4. The other Jounin selected various civilian students, and as the meeting concluded, Sarutobi indicated he needed to speak with Kakashi privately. After everyone else left, Kakashi inquired about the reason for the discussion. Sarutobi asked for Kakashi's thoughts on the Uchihas. Kakashi praised Ayumi as a talented kunoichi with great potential, while he admitted he was less interested in Sasuke but acknowledged his potential nonetheless. Sarutobi then asked about Yun, to which Kakashi responded that she had excellent taijutsu skills and mastered jutsus perfectly, even managing to trap a Sharingan user in a powerful genjutsu. He concluded that she was truly a prodigy. Sarutobi agreed and requested that Kakashi train her specifically, while still attending to his other genin. The next day at the academy, Iruka instructed the students to take their seats and announced that he would reveal their teams and Jounin senseis. The students greeted him enthusiastically. Iruka began with the civilian teams. He announced Team 8, consisting of Kiba Inuzuka, Hinata Hyuga, and Shino Aburame, with Kurinai Yuhi as their sensei. He then moved on to Team 10, which included Ino Yamanaka, Shikamaru Nara, and Choji Akimichi, with Asuma Sarutobi as their Jounin sensei. Ino expressed her discontent about being on the same team as 2 of her classmates, but Iruka explained that it was a direct order from the Hokage. Finally, Iruka introduced a special team, Team 7, which would include Yun Uchiha, Ayumi Uchiha, Sasuke Uchiha, and Naruto Uzumaki, with Kakashi Hatake as their Jounin sensei. The students cheered, excited to begin their journey in the world of ninjas. Iruka reminded them to take care of each other and to wait for their Jounin senseis. After an hour, all the teams left, leaving only Team 7 behind. Yun, aware of Kakashi's laid-back attitude, played cards with Ayumi while Sasuke remained quiet and Naruto searched for something to entertain himself. Naruto decided to set a trap to pass the time, but Yun cautioned him against it. Undeterred, Naruto placed an eraser at the door, and when Kakashi entered moments later, he fell right into Naruto's trap. Naruto laughed heartily at the sight. Kakashi assessed his new team and thought to himself that they seemed a bit foolish. He told them to meet him on the rooftop in 5 minutes before disappearing in a flash. Yun and Ayumi mimicked their sensei while Sasuke and Naruto climbed the stairs. When they reached the rooftop, Kakashi remarked that he hadn't expected them to arrive so quickly. Yun pointed out that the Shunshin technique was a basic D-rank jutsu, so it shouldn't have surprised him that they knew it. Kakashi suggested they wait for the others and began reading a book while Naruto and Sasuke arrived. Instructed them to introduce themselves, starting with Sasuke. Sasuke stated his name and shared his ambition to avenge his clan. Next was Naruto, who introduced himself, expressed his love for ramen, and declared his rivalry with Sasuke. Kakashi then turned to Ayumi, who shared her name, her enjoyment of spending time with Yun, and her dream of becoming the strongest kunoichi in the world. Finally, it was Yun's turn, but he hesitated, admitting he hadn't thought about his dream yet. Kakashi noted that he hadn't introduced himself either. He stated his name and mentioned that his likes were not important, and he had never really thought about his dream. The team was left in silence for a moment. Kakashi told them they would meet again the next day for a test and dismissed them, except for Yun, who was asked to stay behind as the Hokage needed to see him. After the others left, Kakashi and Yun vanished in a flash. At the Hokage Tower, Yun introduced himself to Sarutobi. The Hokage informed Yun that he had something important to discuss. He revealed that Kakashi had been assigned as Yun's personal sensei. Yun was surprised and asked what would happen to Team Kakashi. Reassured him that Team 7 would continue with their missions, but he would train Yun even when there were no missions. Sarutobi then confided in Kakashi about a secret regarding Yun. He instructed Kakashi to look closely at Yun's eyes, prompting Yun to activate his unique Sharingan. Kakashi was taken aback, realizing that Yun's eyes were different from a typical Sharingan, possessing properties of both the Byakugan and Sharingan. Kakashi asked who else knew about this, and Sarutobi confirmed that only the two of them and the late Shursui Uchiha were aware. Sarutobi instructed Kakashi to train Yun in Kenjutsu and Elemental Jutsu. Yun expressed his eagerness to work with Kakashi, smiling brightly. Kakashi, observing Yun's brown hair up close, found himself contemplating the potential ahead. Rin was 26 years old. Kakashi understood the Hokage and mentioned that if everything went well, he would start training Yun the following day after the test. Sarutobi then told Yun she could leave, and she disappeared in a flash. Sarutobi instructed Kakashi to take care of the girl, as she had the potential to become a great ninja in the future. Kakashi acknowledged the Hokage's words. After the meeting in the Hokage Tower, Yun walked with Ayumi, an hour after the excitement from Kakashi's announcement. Ayumi asked if Yun was sure Kakashi hadn't arrived yet. Yun replied that with how late he arrived the previous day, it wouldn't surprise her if he was late again. Ayumi wondered what would happen if he arrived early, to which Yun jokingly said it would be their revenge for the previous day. 30 minutes later, Naruto called out to the girls, saying they were late. Yun pointed out that Kakashi-sensei was still missing, and Ayumi noted they couldn't start without him. Just then, Kakashi appeared in a flash. Naruto remarked that Kakashi was late again, and Kakashi apologized, saying he got lost on the journey of life. Yun insisted it was time to begin, and Kakashi explained that they would have to take the bells from him, with only 3 of them able to pass. Naruto exclaimed that there were only 3 bells, and Kakashi confirmed that only 3 of them would succeed. With that, everyone vanished to hide while Kakashi pulled out his book. Yun thought to herself that she wouldn't be able to defeat a Jounin alone, so the only way to succeed would be to work as a team. She reappeared next to Ayumi and suggested they work together to take the bell from Kakashi. Ayumi agreed but pointed out Naruto, who was confronting Kakashi directly. Naruto declared he would defeat Kakashi-sensei, while Kakashi internally questioned Naruto's foolishness, knowing that a genin couldn't defeat a Jounin. Kakashi asked Naruto if he was sure he wanted to fight head-on. Naruto insisted it was the only way he could think of. Kakashi remained silent as Naruto created 20 shadow clones, surprising Kakashi. However, Kakashi quickly engaged in taijutsu, taking down the clones one by one. Naruto was shocked at the outcome, and Kakashi seized the opportunity to use a secret technique, sending Naruto flying and hiding after the intense encounter. Ayumi suggested they work together, and Yun agreed. They began to strategize, with Yun stating she would hold Kakashi off. Kakashi thought it would be more challenging than dealing with Naruto. Yun created 20 shadow clones that launched kunai and shurikens at Kakashi, who was impressed by her skills. Yun managed to corner Kakashi, as he underestimated her chakra reserves. She then executed a water prison technique. Kakashi was forced to disappear in a flash, but he was caught off guard by Ayumi, who greeted him. She launched a fireball into the sky to signal Yun. Kakashi acknowledged it wasn't a bad idea, and moments later, Yun appeared beside Ayumi. Yun apologized for the delay, and Ayumi stated it was time to finish this. Yun activated her Sharingan and began attacking Kakashi while Ayumi skillfully distracted him with shurikens. As Kakashi eliminated the clones, Yun transformed into a giant shuriken. Ayumi urged Yun to launch the giant shuriken at Kakashi. Kakashi, however, found it predictable. Suddenly, Yun appeared behind Kakashi, trapping him in a water prison while Ayumi used a lightning technique to momentarily immobilize him. In that brief moment, Yun snatched the bells from Kakashi. He was impressed by their teamwork and strategy. Later, they gathered in a clearing. Kakashi congratulated Yun and Ayumi but asked who would receive the other bell. Naruto suggested giving it to Sasuke, believing he had more potential as a ninja and that he didn't mind returning to the academy for another year. Sasuke, overhearing, called Naruto an idiot and demanded the bell from Yun. Kakashi observed silently. Yun decided they could both keep the bells, not wanting to take away someone else's chance to be a ninja. Ayumi offered to return to the academy with Yun if that happened. Sasuke dismissed their kindness, insisting they hand over the bell and leave. Kakashi commented that they had passed, albeit barely. Naruto cheered, while Kakashi reflected on Yun and Ayumi's potential, noting that Sasuke was consumed by hatred. Kakashi announced they could rest for the day before disappearing in a flash to the Hokage's office. Kakashi reported to Sarutobi about the test, praising Yun and Ayumi's teamwork and noting Naruto's adaptability. Sarutobi inquired about Sasuke, and Kakashi expressed concern that he hadn't even seen Sasuke during the test. He mentioned that after Yun had given him the bell, Sasuke only cared about passing without regard for others. Sarutobi acknowledged that Sasuke was consumed by hatred and asked Kakashi what they should do. Kakashi expressed doubt about Sasuke's future as a ninja, citing his inability to work as part of a team and his arrogant attitude that alienated his peers. He noted that even Sasuke's sister seemed to have a better connection with Yun. Sarutobi suggested they might have to expel Sasuke. Kakashi doubted the council would approve such a decision. He then requested to train both Yun and Ayumi. Sarutobi agreed and promised to discuss Sasuke's situation with the council. Kakashi acknowledged the Hokage's decision before disappearing in a flash, leaving Sarutobi to gaze out the window, feeling regret for Itachi and wishing he could help Sasuke find a peaceful path. After the meeting between Kakashi and the Hokage, a decision was made to discuss the future of Sasuke Uchiha with the council. Sarutobi stated that they needed to address Sasuke Uchiha. A council member inquired about the heir of the Uchiha clan, to which Sarutobi explained that Sasuke had completed the Genin test, but his Jounin sensei claimed he lacked teamwork skills. Another council member suggested that perhaps his teammates were envious of him for being the future heir of the clan. Sarutobi pointed out that his female teammates had passed the test, and it was thanks to them that Sasuke had succeeded. Another council member proposed that they could have Kakashi train Sasuke alone while finding another sensei for the other three. Sarutobi responded that Kakashi was the only one in the village with experience using the Sharingan, and he could not allow the talents of the two girls to go to waste. Danzo interjected, claiming he could turn Sasuke into an elite ninja. Sarutobi warned that this would only increase Sasuke's resentment, and he was considering discharging him to live as a civilian. Danzo insisted they could not allow Sasuke to be weak, as losing him would mean losing the only loyal male Uchiha to the village. A council member suggested putting Sasuke in a clan resurrection program to have children with Yun Uchiha to ensure more pure Uchihas. Sarutobi firmly rejected this idea, stating that Yun and Ayumi Uchiha were high-level ninjas and he would not allow them to spend their lives raising children. Danzo asked what they should do instead, and Sarutobi decided they would wait until the Chunin exams. If Sasuke did not improve his attitude, they would make a decision then. A week later, Team 7 was in the Hokage's office. Naruto expressed his boredom with D-rank missions and requested something of a higher level. Sarutobi asked Kakashi for his opinion, and Kakashi believed they were ready for more challenging work. Sarutobi assigned them escort mission and called for Tazuna to enter. Tazuna appeared with a bottle of sake, questioning whether these kids would be able to protect him. Yun swiftly took the bottle from him and handed it to the Hokage, stating that they could not afford to babysit a drunkard if they wanted to succeed in their mission. Tazuna was left speechless, and Kakashi instructed the team to meet him at the village gate in an hour. An hour later, Kakashi gathered the team and they set off on their mission. As they traveled, Yun and Ayumi chatted while Sasuke remained silent. Yun revealed to Ayumi that her Sharingan was special, as it was combined with the Byakugan from the Hyuga clan. Ayumi was surprised and promised to keep Yun's secret. After walking for a while, they came across a puddle that caught Ayumi's attention. Sasuke dismissed it as just a puddle, but moments later, two figures emerged, attacking Kakashi. Naruto was shocked to see Kakashi seemingly defeated. Yun instructed Naruto and Sasuke to protect Tazuna while she and Ayumi took on the attackers. Sasuke questioned why he should listen to Yun, who confidently claimed she was the strongest without their sensei present. Yun and Ayumi vanished and engaged the brothers, who struggled to defend themselves. One brother expressed disbelief that they were genin, while the other acknowledged their strength. Yun suggested they split up to take on their opponents, reminding Ayumi to leave one alive for information. Ayumi activated her Sharingan and unleashed a powerful fire jutsu, incapacitating one of the brothers and binding him to extract information. Yun confronted the second brother, who taunted her about killing him. Yun warned him that if he left her no choice, she would. In a swift movement, she appeared behind him and struck with a kunai. After a tense few minutes, the genin regrouped, and Naruto expressed concern about Kakashi's fate. Yun urged him not to jump to conclusions and called out to Kakashi, who revealed he had been using a clone all along. He praised the team's performance against the brothers and emphasized the importance of following a leader, even if they seemed weaker. Kakashi then questioned Tazuna about the truth behind their mission. Tazuna admitted that his village was suffering from bandit attacks, with people starving and no funds to pay for a higher-ranked mission. Kakashi concluded that their mission would end here, but Naruto, aspiring to be Hokage, insisted they could not let innocent people suffer. Ayumi agreed, and Yun expressed indifference. Sasuke remained contemplative. Kakashi decided to inform the Hokage, and when Naruto questioned how they would do that after walking for hours, Yun performed a summoning jutsu. Kakashi confirmed he would send one of his dogs back to the village. Ayumi offered to help by summoning a crow to deliver the message. Kakashi reluctantly agreed. After a couple of hours of walking, Kakashi suddenly warned the team to duck as a giant sword flew overhead. Yun recognized the attacker as Zabuza Momochi, who proposed a deal. If they handed over Tazuna, he would let them live. Kakashi refused, asking Zabuza why he wanted Tazuna. Zabuza stated it was his mission, and as he attempted to strike Tazuna, Kakashi intervened. A fierce battle ensued between Kakashi and Zabuza, with Zabuza underestimating Kakashi and not using his Sharingan. After 30 minutes of intense combat, both were exhausted and prepared to end the fight with their final jutsu. Yun called out to Kakashi just as she trapped Zabuza in a water prison, allowing Kakashi to prepare his Raikiri. However, before he could strike, an Umbu appeared and declared Zabuza a rogue ninja, taking him into custody. Kakashi understood the situation and requested a favor from Yun, who noted that he was out of chakra. Afterward, Kakashi collapsed, and Yun helped him rejoin the rest of the team. She asked Tazuna how much longer it would take, and he replied they were 30 minutes from his home. With renewed determination, Yun urged everyone to move on. Yun and Ayumi copied the hand poses and released lightning chakra. Ayumi found it very difficult to control, while Yun noted that adding more chakra caused it to spiral out of control. Kakashi informed them that they would need to master how much chakra to use in the jutsu before disappearing for 3 hours. When Kakashi returned, he saw Yun running with Chidori and her Sharingan activated, crashing into a tree and destroying it. Impressed, Kakashi watched as Ayumi imitated her friend's action and brought down another tree. He declared that it was enough for now, and both girls greeted him enthusiastically. Kakashi was surprised at how quickly they had mastered Chidori. Yun mentioned that after some time, it wasn't so difficult. Kakashi thought to himself that the Hokage was right. They had 2 great prodigies on their hands. Kakashi then made a proposal to the girls, asking if they would like to be his disciples when they returned to Konoha. Yun joked about him declaring his feelings, which made Ayumi laugh. Kakashi clarified that he meant outside of Team 7, offering to train them in whatever they wanted and teach them new jutsus. With stars in their eyes, Yun and Ayumi eagerly accepted. Kakashi instructed them to gather with the others as they needed to head to the bridge the next day. Ayumi pointed out that it was supposed to be in 2 days, but Kakashi insisted they were more than ready. 30 minutes later, everyone was seated discussing the bridge. Kakashi informed them that they would depart at 8 a.m. to defend Tazuna. He reminded them to prepare their things and told Yun and Ayumi they could stay a little longer if they wanted, as they might be tired. The girls agreed, and everyone else went off to rest. The next day, Kakashi allowed Yun and Ayumi to rest from their intense training while he, Naruto, and Sasuke headed to the bridge. Naruto questioned why they were leaving without the girls, and Sasuke dismissed them, saying they probably couldn't handle the training and were pathetic. Kakashi corrected Sasuke, stating that the girls had trained much harder than the 2 of them. An hour later, Yun and Ayumi woke up. Yun greeted Ayumi, and they realized the others had already left for the bridge. They quickly prepared to follow. Suddenly, a scream echoed, prompting Yun to tell Ayumi to gather her things while she checked what was happening. With a swift shunshin, Yun appeared at the main door and saw bandits holding Tazuna's daughter, Hinari. Inari shouted for them to let her mother go, but the bandits refused, claiming they would be well rewarded for capturing such a beautiful woman. Yun appeared behind them and stated that she couldn't allow that. In a flash, she took down both bandits. Inari was shocked, and Yun reassured her that ninjas were not as weak as she thought. Tazuna expressed gratitude but warned them to hurry to the bridge, as she had a bad feeling. Ayumi joined Yun, and together, the 2 prodigies from Konoha arrived at the bridge after 10 minutes. They witnessed Kakashi fighting Zabuza, Sasuke battling an Umbu, and Naruto protecting Tazuna. Kakashi acknowledged their arrival, but Zabuza noted that with the girls there, he would have to finish things quickly. Kakashi instructed Yun and Ayumi to help Sasuke while he held off Zabuza. As they entered the ice mirror dome created by the Umbu expressed frustration at their arrival. Yun declared that they couldn't allow him to harm a teammate. However, as she spoke, the Umbu launched numerous senbon at Ayumi, and Sasuke jumped in front of her to protect his sister. Ayumi was devastated, tears streaming down her face as Yun looked at Sasuke's body and her best friend in shock. Yun urged Ayumi to focus, but Ayumi was confused and frightened, asking what was happening. Ayumi and Yun prepared for the final confrontation. Yun activated her white Sharingan, noting that the mirrors behind them had less chakra. Ayumi understood that the enemy was right in front of them. Without hesitation, Ayumi unleashed a fireball aimed at the Umbu. The Umbu boasted about their invincibility, but before finishing their sentence, Yun appeared behind them, leaving the Umbu stunned. Yun dismissed their confusion, and together, she and Ayumi incapacitated the Umbu. Yun suggested they assist Kakashi, expressing she had something important to tell him. Ayumi decided to stay behind to protect Sasuke, while Yun reminded her not to harm the Umbu. She then joined Kakashi, who was confronted by Zabuza, who questioned if Haku had been defeated. Yun reassured him that Haku was merely unconscious. Zabuza expressed relief and was informed by Yun that a group of bandits was approaching. Kakashi was taken aback, and Yun pointed out a very small man in front of them, identifying him as Gato, the one tormenting the village. Zabuza declared that there was no longer a reason to fight, and Kakashi agreed. Yun had instructed Ayumi not to kill the Umbu, which Zabuza appreciated. Moments later, an army of bandits and low-ranking ninjas appeared. Gato threatened Zabuza, claiming he had paid him too much for failure. Zabuza warned Gato of his intent to kill him, but Gato laughed, confident that he could not be defeated, especially by leaf ninjas. Yun intervened, stating they were no longer enemies. She created 100 shadow clones, while Kakashi summoned 3, and they began their assault. After a fierce battle, Gato offered to pay Zabuza whatever he wanted, but Zabuza refused, stating he would take it all anyway. With those words, Zabuza ended Gato's life. Grateful for their assistance, Zabuza thanked Kakashi, who acknowledged that Zabuza must have his reasons for his actions. Zabuza explained that he needed money to help his village, but once he realized the problem was resolved, he was labeled a rogue ninja. Yun decided to let Zabuza go under one condition. He must give half of the money to the village. Zabuza agreed, and soon after, Haku joined him. Haku apologized for failing in her mission, and Zabuza embraced her, relieved she was safe. Haku mentioned that Yun had spared her life. After injuring her brother, leaving her puzzled. Zabuza suspected Yun's kindness was the reason. Yun explained that she had instructed them not to kill Haku because she seemed like a good person. Haku expressed her gratitude, and Yun asked to be called simply Yun. Zabuza suggested Haku give Yun a token of gratitude, and Haku presented her with a scroll. Yun inquired about its contents, and Haku revealed it contained the secret to obtaining the ice element, a Kekii Genkai of her clan. Yun thanked Haku sincerely. Zabuza indicated it was time for them to leave, and Haku agreed. He bid farewell to Yun and thanked Kakashi for everything. After an intense battle, Zabuza and Haku departed, allowing Team 7 to finally rest. A week later, Tazuna expressed his gratitude and proposed naming the bridge after them. Kakashi suggested the Sharingan Bridge, which Tazuna found perfect. Tsunami thanked them profusely, and thus Team 7 completed their mission in the Land of Waves and returned to Konoha. After the mission, Team 7 arrived back in Konoha. Kakashi informed them he would report to the Hokage about their mission. He vanished in a shunshin and arrived at the Hokage's office. Sarutobi inquired about the mission's outcome, to which Kakashi replied that it had been successfully completed but had escalated from a C rank to an A rank due to the appearance of Zabuza Momochi. Sarutobi acknowledged that they would be compensated according to an A-rank mission and asked about the performance of Kakashi's students. Kakashi noted that Naruto followed orders without question but needed more advanced training. He reported that Sasuke had been seriously injured while protecting his sister from an enemy's sunbon. Sarutobi recognized this as a significant advancement for Sasuke. Kakashi praised Ayumi for her impressive skills as a ninja, having mastered Chidori in just a week, and noted that her relationship with Yun brought out the best in both of them. Sarutobi inquired about Yun, and Kakashi shared that she had also mastered Chidori in a week, demonstrated strong leadership abilities, and had obtained a scroll detailing how to unlock a Kekii Genkai. Sarutobi expressed skepticism about Yun acquiring a Kekii Genkai at such a young age and mentioned the upcoming Chunin exams. He asked if Kakashi believed they were ready. Kakashi questioned how they could participate as a team of 3. Sarutobi suggested adding a temporary member to join Sasuke and Naruto while Ayumi and Yun competed separately. Kakashi agreed but expressed doubt about Ayumi and Yun's readiness. Sarutobi believed they were prepared and assigned Kakashi to oversee their training while he sought another instructor for Naruto, Sasuke, and the other girl. Kakashi acknowledged the Hokage's decision. The following day, Kakashi gathered Team 7 and introduced them to their new sensei, a girl with pink hair. Kakashi explained that the Chunin exams would begin in 3 months. Naruto asked about the other 2, and Kakashi clarified that since ninja teams were typically composed of 3 members, they could not participate as a full team. The Hokage had provided an option. Ayumi and Yun would train with Kakashi and compete alone, while Naruto, Sasuke, and the pink-haired girl would train with Shin. The girl introduced herself as Sakura Haruno, explaining that her team had chosen to withdraw from being ninjas after a mission that nearly cost them their lives. Shin introduced himself as a recently promoted jounin tasked with training a new team. Kakashi left them in the care of their new sensei and took Yun and Ayumi to a training field. Kakashi began their training by demonstrating various forms of Chidori, including transforming it into an animal shape to launch at the enemy. 3 months later, Kakashi had taught them techniques such as Lightning Beast Tracking Fong, Raiden, Raikiri, and high-level Taijutsu. He commended the girls for their progress and expressed his fondness for them as students. Kakashi suggested they take a break for food, reminding them that the Chunin exams would start the next day. The girls agreed enthusiastically. The following day, Yun urged Ayumi to get ready for the exams. As both of them vanished in a flash, the academy was filled with children trying to enter room. Yun observed the scene and remarked that it was an illusion. Ayumi noted that it was too obvious. As they made their way to the classroom, they spotted Sasuke engaged in a confrontation with a boy sporting a mushroom haircut. Yun questioned what was happening, and Sakura explained that the boy with the prominent eyebrows had challenged Sasuke to a fight. Determined to intervene, Yun swiftly moved in, using a quick movement to separate Sasuke from the other boy. Yun expressed his disapproval, stating that they shouldn't be fighting before an exam. The other boy acknowledged his fault, but Yun insisted that it didn't matter and urged them to stop fighting. With that, Yun and Ayumi proceeded to the classroom where the exam would take place. Ibiki Marino stood before the participants and outlined the rules. Under no circumstances were the participants allowed to fight during the exam unless instructed to do so by their examiners. The consequence of failure would be suspension. The participants entered the exam with 10 points each, and their test consisted of 10 questions, each worth 1 point. The test was designed to deduct points for any mistakes. For instance, if all questions were answered correctly, a participant would retain 10 points. However, if 3 questions were answered incorrectly, the participant would end up with 7 points. The success or failure of the team would be determined by the total points they accumulated. If an examiner caught a participant cheating, the penalty would be a deduction of 2 points for each attempt. If any team member scored 0, the entire team would fail. Ibiki instructed everyone to begin. Ayumi and Yun immediately understood the test, activating their dijutsus and completing the exam in 10 minutes. Yun informed Ibiki that she had finished the test, and Ayumi confirmed that she had as well. Ibiki told them that if they were confident, they could rest in their seats. After about 50 minutes of napping during the exam, Ibiki announced that he would now reveal the 10th question. He warned that if anyone failed, they would not be able to retake the exam and would remain as genin for life. Many participants began to leave, but several teams remained, having passed the test. Ibiki congratulated everyone. On passing the first test when a woman with purple hair entered the room. She introduced herself as Mitarashi Anko and announced that she would be in charge of the next test. Chapter end. Before starting, the author apologizes for the name given to the previous part, which did not fit the chapter. Now let's begin. After 30 minutes of walking with Kakashi on Yun's shoulders, Yun suggested it was time to let Kakashi rest. Ayumi inquired about the identity of the man they had encountered, and Sasuke remarked that if someone could defeat Kakashi, they must be very strong. Yun explained that the man was Zabuza Momochi, the demon of the mist. Ayumi then asked what he was doing there, glancing at Tazuna, who speculated that Zabuza had likely been hired to prevent the bridge's construction. Yun concluded that it would be best to wait for Kakashi to wake up before facing Zabuza again. Tazuna agreed, inviting them to stay and introducing them to his daughter and nephew. 2 people entered the room. Tsunami introduced herself as Tazuna's daughter, and her son Inari expressed his frustration, urging them to leave, fearing for their lives. Tsunami apologized, explaining that Inari disliked ninjas, but she hoped they would understand. The next day, Yun greeted Ayumi with a cheerful, "Good morning," and they decided to check on Kakashi. Upon entering, they greeted him, and he asked them to recount what had happened the previous day. Yun explained that after he had collapsed, they brought him to Tazuna's house, and she suspected Zabuza was still alive. Kakashi noted that the Umbu might have been Zabuza's partner and that he would need to train them for a few days to prepare for the confrontation. Kakashi then instructed them to wake the others. 10 minutes later, he gathered everyone for training, informing them that they would be preparing to defeat Zabuza. Naruto was shocked to learn that Zabuza was not dead, and Kakashi explained the importance of focusing on their training. Sasuke asked what techniques they would learn, to which Kakashi replied that it would not be exactly what they expected. Outside Tazuna's house, Kakashi instructed them to climb a tree, but without using their hands. Naruto protested, while Yun confidently stated that she could do it. Kakashi was impressed and asked the three of them to begin. Ayumi also claimed she could climb, and Kakashi encouraged her as well. As the three girls left to train, Naruto and Sasuke continued to struggle with the task. Kakashi decided to teach Yun and Ayumi a jutsu, first needing to determine their elemental affinities. Ayumi wondered how she would find out, and Kakashi produced some papers. Yun confidently stated her affinities: fire, wind, water, and lightning. Kakashi was astonished that a genin could have 4 affinities and asked her to demonstrate. Yun used the paper, which burned, got wet, and crumpled, impressing Kakashi. Next, Ayumi focused her chakra, causing her paper to split into 2, with one side burning and the other crumpling. Kakashi noted her affinities as wind, fire, and lightning. He mentioned that it might be early to teach them, but Yun guessed it was the Chidori. Kakashi was surprised by her intuition and explained that to use the Chidori, they would need speed, the lightning element, and the Sharingan. They would work on their speed for 4 days before learning the hand signs. 4 days later, Kakashi was teaching Naruto and Sasuke how to walk on water, as Ayumi and Yun had mastered it too quickly. Meanwhile, Ayumi and Yun were running with gravity seals to enhance their speed. Kakashi commended the girls, stating they now had the necessary speed for the Chidori and would soon learn the hand signs. Anko instructed everyone to meet in 30 minutes at training field. 30 minutes later, Anko gathered the participants and explained the test. They needed to obtain 2 scrolls, one representing Earth and the other Wind. Each team would receive 1 scroll at the start, but first, they had to sign a waiver. When a genin questioned why they needed to sign, Anko casually remarked that it was to absolve her of responsibility if anything went wrong. The group fell silent, and Anko urged them to sign and begin. In the forest, Yun suggested to Ayumi that they finish their task quickly. They needed to locate a team with the Earth Scroll. Activating her white Sharingan, Yun scanned the area and reported that there was a team to the left, 10 minutes away. Ayumi estimated it would take them 5 minutes, and both vanished in a flash, appearing behind the opposing team. Yun informed them they needed their scroll, while Ayumi suggested it would be better if they handed it over without a fight. The opposing genin, confident in their numbers, dismissed their request. Yun declared they had asked for it, and with that, Ayumi and Yun cast a genjutsu, rendering the 3 genin unconscious. Ayumi confirmed they had the scroll they needed, and Yun asked if they should fight a little more or leave. Ayumi decided they should head to the tower, and if they encountered anyone else, they would take their scroll and give it to Sasuke and Naruto. They proceeded toward the tower without encountering any other teams. Meanwhile, Sarutobi noted that the 2 had broken the record, arriving just an hour after the test began. At the tower, Yun wondered what they should do next. Ayumi pointed out that they needed to open their scrolls simultaneously. Once they did, Kakashi appeared, congratulating them on their swift success. Yun asked what they should do now, and Kakashi informed them that the test was supposed to last 7 days, so they could rest for a week. Days later, a group of 22 shinobi stood outside the forest. Anko congratulated them for passing the second test and announced that they would hold preliminaries to reduce the number of participants by half. A few days later, the Hokage and the teams that passed the second test gathered in a stadium. Hayate introduced himself as the judge for the upcoming matches and announced the first combatants, Yoroi Akato against Sasuke Uchiha. Despite being weakened by Kakashi's seal, Sasuke managed to win by mimicking Rock Lee's taijutsu. The second match featured Zuku Abumi against Shino Aburame, with Zuku emerging victorious. The third match had Misumi Tsurugi facing Kankuro, with Kankuro winning. The fourth match between Sakura Haruno and Ino Yamanaka ended in a tie. In the fifth match, Tenten faced Temari, and Temari won. In the sixth match, Shikamaru Nara fought Yun Uchiha. Yun warned Shikamaru that he should surrender, but he expressed a desire to continue, as Asuma-sensei had told him that surrendering would result in only D-rank missions. Yun decided to end it quickly, disappearing in a flash and leaving everyone, except Kakashi, in awe. Shikamaru was stunned when Yun appeared behind him and knocked him out with a single blow. Hayate announced Yun Uchiha as the winner. Guy, impressed, asked Kakashi what he had taught her, to which Kakashi replied that she had not used any of his teachings, only imitating her brother, Shisui Uchiha. Hayate called for the next combatants. The 7th match featured Naruto Uzumaki against Kiba Inuzuka, with Naruto winning. The 8th match was Hinata Hyuga versus Neji Hyuga, with Neji coming out on top. The 9th match saw Gaara face Rock Lee, with Gaara winning. The 10th match was between Dosu Kinyuda and Choji Akimichi, with Dosu as the victor. In the 11th match, Kin Tsuchi faced Ayumi Uchiha. Kin boasted about underestimating Ayumi, but before he could finish, he fell into a genjutsu. The spectators thought Ayumi was reminiscent of Itachi. Sarutobi congratulated everyone who passed and announced that in a month, they would complete the Chunin exams with the presence of the Kazekage. He encouraged them to rest and train for their promotion to Chunin. Moments later, Kakashi praised the girls for being well prepared. Ayumi requested more training, and Yun expressed her desire to learn more jutsus. Kakashi regrettably informed them that he could not teach them anything more for now, as they had mastered his best techniques. However, he offered to find a shinobi to help them with their training. Ayumi expressed her wish to improve her genjutsu, and Kakashi suggested that Kurinai might be able to assist. Yun also wanted to enhance her genjutsu skills. Kakashi called for Kurinai, who arrived and asked what was needed. Kakashi introduced her to his students, and both girls introduced themselves. Kurinai was charmed by their enthusiasm and agreed to help them improve their genjutsu. Yun and Ayumi thanked Kurinai, who informed them that training would begin the following day at training field. After a month of training with Kurinai, the two Sharingan bearers could create A-rank illusions. Ayumi called out to Yun, urging her to wake up. Yun, startled, realized she had forgotten about the Chunin exams. They hurriedly got ready and dashed towards the exam location. Kakashi, waiting for them, remarked that he thought they wouldn't make it. Yun explained that they had overslept, but Kakashi reassured them that they arrived just in time. As they passed by him, Yun whispered a warning to stay alert. At the exam site, Sarutobi announced the start of the Chunin promotion tests, reminding everyone that only those who demonstrated the necessary skills could advance. Genma, the judge, explained the rules. Participants would fight until one could no longer continue or chose to withdraw. The judge could intervene if necessary, but victory was not solely about strength. Strategy and intelligence were equally important. The first match was between Naruto Uzumaki and Neji Hyuga, with the audience buzzing about the clash of the demon and the prodigy. As they entered the arena, Neji warned Naruto to surrender, claiming his destiny was to win. Naruto countered that destiny didn't exist. The battle unfolded just like in the anime, with Naruto emerging victorious. Next, it was Temari against Yun Uchiha. As the match began, Yun expressed doubt about Temari's chances. Temari responded with confidence, launching air waves at Yun, who swiftly countered and appeared behind her. Temari anticipated Yun's move and soared into the sky, evading the attack. Impressed, Yun activated her Sharingan, locking Temari in an illusion. Temari, confused, realized she was trapped as multiple copies of Yun surrounded her, each preparing a Chidori. Reluctantly, Temari conceded defeat. Genma announced Yun as the winner, and the next match featured Zaku against Kankuro, with Kankuro claiming victory. Following that, Dosu faced Ayumi Uchiha. Zaku mocked Ayumi, but the match began with her activating her Sharingan, trapping Zaku in a genjutsu. Genma had to intervene as Zaku cried out in agony, declaring Ayumi the winner. As the battles continued, the focus shifted to Sasuke and Gaara. Ayumi expressed her frustration at Kakashi for training Sasuke in the Chidori. Yun activated her Sharingan, sensing someone attempting to use a genjutsu in the stadium. Kakashi realized they needed to stop it, but Yun warned that it would only affect civilians. She also noted a change in the chakra of the red-haired opponent facing Sasuke. Suddenly, Gaara transformed into the Shikaku, and Orochimaru appeared, taking the Hokage hostage. Kakashi instructed Ayumi to assist him while Yun rushed to help the Hokage. Upon arrival, Yun found Sarutobi and explained that Kakashi had sent her. Just then, a barrier trapped them with Orochimaru. Orochimaru taunted them, and Sarutobi expressed his disappointment in him. Orochimaru summoned the first and second Hokage using the Edo Tensei technique, revealing his plan to defeat them. As the resurrected Hokages attacked, Yun decided to confront the second Hokage, believing that since the jutsu wasn't perfected, he wouldn't be at full strength. Despite Sarutobi's concerns about Yun's inexperience, she insisted on fighting. As the battle raged on, Yun unleashed her jutsu, but the second Hokage quickly countered. Frustrated, Yun devised a new strategy, combining water and lightning techniques to strike him. The second Hokage acknowledged her skill but reminded her that the only way to stop the Edo Tensei was through genjutsu. Determined, Yun activated her Sharingan and trapped him in an illusion. Within the genjutsu, she learned that the Edo Tensei brought back both the soul and body of the deceased, and only genjutsu could affect them. The second Hokage, revealing he had created the technique, agreed to teach her how to undo it. Back in the real world, Yun performed the hand signs he had shown her, invoking the release of souls. Orochimaru, surprised, realized he had underestimated Tobirama's intelligence. Sarutobi declared that it was time to end Orochimaru's threat once and for all. Jutsu of the Reaper. The Shinigami appeared, his presence commanding and ominous. He addressed the mortal before him, questioning his desires. The Hokage, Sarutobi, urgently requested that the Shinigami seal Orochimaru's arms so that he could no longer use them. Orochimaru, taken aback, expressed his disbelief. The Shinigami warned that such a request would come at a great cost, one that would require a life. At that moment, Yun entered the scene, pleading with the Hokage not to proceed with his plan. Sarutobi, however, felt he had no choice and instructed Yun to seek training from Jiraiya, knowing the weight of his decision. As the scene unfolded, the Hokage's body lay motionless on the ground, while Orochimaru's arms were rendered useless, darkened by the Shinigami's power. Enraged, Orochimaru vowed revenge against the old man. Yun, filled with determination, prepared to unleash his Raikiri. Just as he was about to strike, a ninja intervened, whisking Orochimaru away from the village. Orochimaru, now in a safe location, questioned Kabuto about the situation. Kabuto reported that the invasion had failed, revealing that Kakashi had defeated the Jinchuriki but at the cost of the Hokage's life. Orochimaru, frustrated, lamented the loss of his arms, to which Kabuto assured him that they would find a solution. After the invasion led by Orochimaru, the elders of Konoha and some elite jounin gathered to discuss the next Hokage. The daimyo asked who they believed should take on the role. Hamura suggested that Danzo deserved the position, while Koharu agreed, stating he was the most qualified. The daimyo expressed concern about Danzo's age, recalling that it was a factor in Sarutobi's demise. Danzo insisted he was the only capable leader in the village. Shikaku proposed that Jiraiya could be the fifth Hokage. The daimyo considered this and decided someone should ask Jiraiya. Moments later, an Umbu member reported to the daimyo that Jiraiya had refused the position. The daimyo resignedly concluded that Danzo would have to be the Hokage. However, the Umbu member interrupted, revealing that Jiraiya suggested Tsunade Senju as a potential candidate. The daimyo recognized her as the granddaughter of Hashirama and Tobirama and declared the decision made. Danzo protested, noting that Tsunade had left the village and her whereabouts were unknown. Shikaku proposed sending Jiraiya to find her, believing he was the most capable of the task. The daimyo agreed, stating that if Jiraiya could not locate or convince Tsunade, Danzo would become the next Hokage. The scene shifted to Kakashi and Jiraiya. Jiraiya informed Kakashi that he would be borrowing one of his students. Kakashi assumed he meant Naruto. Jiraiya admitted it was the only option after neglecting Naruto for so long. Kakashi then requested that Jiraiya also take Yun Uchiha with him. When Jiraiya inquired about her, Kakashi explained that she was his student but he had nothing more to teach her at the moment. Jiraiya questioned why he should train her, to which Kakashi responded that the third Hokage had recognized her as Konoha's greatest prodigy and wanted the best shinobi to mentor her. Jiraiya hesitated, feeling the timing was not right as he needed to find Tsunade and care for Naruto. Kakashi then revealed a secret, stating that Yun had demonstrated a unique jujutsu that combined the Sharingan and Byakugan. Jiraiya was astonished and agreed to take her along. Kakashi promised to introduce them the next day. The following day, Yun was walking through the streets of Konoha when she spotted a white-haired man peering into the women's restroom. Shocked, she confronted him, demanding to know what he was doing. Jiraiya, startled, asked her what she was doing there. Yun insisted he should not be watching women and proceeded to trap him in a water prison. Jiraiya, impressed yet unfazed, managed to escape with a swift movement, prompting Yun to follow him. She taunted him about being slow, and Jiraiya was surprised she recognized him. Yun stated she had no time for his antics, as Kakashi-sensei wanted to introduce her to someone. Jiraiya confirmed she was indeed Yun and suggested they go see Kakashi. When they arrived, Kakashi acknowledged their meeting. Yun noted that Jiraiya was one of the legendary Sannin and expressed her excitement. Kakashi introduced Jiraiya as her new trainer, and Jiraiya mentioned he would train her while searching for Tsunade. Yun thanked both of them for the opportunity. Jiraiya instructed them to meet him the next day at noon and warned Yun not to be late. As they parted ways, Jiraiya remarked on Yun's prodigious talent. Suddenly, a frog appeared, informing Jiraiya that the chief wanted to see him urgently. At the Toad Mountain, the chief revealed that there had been a change in the prophecy. Jiraiya was taken aback as the chief explained that his dreams had been shifting. He described a vision where Jiraiya would become a great ninja and mentor a student who would play a crucial role in a significant revolution that could either bring peace or destruction to the world. The chief noted that the gender of the prophesied child had changed to a girl. Jiraiya was shocked, recalling that Conan was thought to be dead, which led him to suspect who the girl might be. The chief urged him to train her with all his might, as she was the future of the ninja world. Jiraiya agreed. The next day, Naruto was surprised to see Yun and learned that Kakashi had asked Jiraiya to train her. Excited, he anticipated that their training would be more fun. Jiraiya gathered them and explained that they would start their training with a water balloon exercise, where they had to pop the balloons using only chakra. As they began, an explosion occurred when Naruto attempted the task. Yun succeeded, prompting Jiraiya to express his astonishment. Naruto was curious about how she accomplished it, but Jiraiya insisted she should figure it out on her own. After several hours, while Naruto struggled to reach the next phase, Yun had already mastered the third phase. Jiraiya was impressed by her rapid progress and instructed her to perform the third step without the balloon. A blue sphere formed in Yun's hand, and Jiraiya recognized it as the Rasengan, praising her achievement. Naruto was equally excited by her success. Yun watched as the Rasengan vanished. She turned to Jiraiya, curious about their next steps. Jiraiya informed them that it seemed their target had moved on to another village, so they would be departing the following day. Both Yun and Naruto acknowledged their sensei with enthusiasm. The next day, Jiraiya, Naruto, and Yun set off toward the next village in search of Tsunade. Upon arrival, Jiraiya instructed the others to find a hotel while he went off to investigate. Naruto and Yun settled in, but soon there were knocks at the door. Curious, Naruto wondered who it could be, but Yun urged him not to open it. Ignoring her warning, Naruto opened the door to find a mysterious figure. The person insisted that Naruto needed to come with them, and Yun recognized Itachi, who warned her not to interfere as it was not her mission. Another figure, Kisame, suggested a more violent approach, but Itachi dismissed the idea, stating they wouldn't waste time. Yun, determined to protect her brother, activated her Mangekyo Sharingan for the first time since unlocking it, catching Itachi's attention. Kisame noted the similarity between their eyes, while Naruto struggled to break free from their grasp. Suddenly, Sasuke appeared, declaring it was time for his revenge against Itachi. Despite Itachi's warning to leave, Sasuke attacked, but Itachi quickly immobilized him with a genjutsu, leaving Yun frustrated. In a moment of desperation, Yun created an army of 50 shadow clones to confront Itachi and Kisame. Kisame remarked on her impressive chakra, while Itachi expressed his admiration for Yun's abilities. Yun demanded to know why Itachi was doing this, and he told her to come find him with the Yumi once she became a jonin. Just as they were about to attack Yun, Jiraiya arrived on the scene. Realizing they couldn't win against Jiraiya, Itachi decided to retreat, but Kisame suggested they could defeat him together. Itachi countered that Yun's presence increased the risk of failure, prompting Kisame to agree to leave. Jiraiya declared he wouldn't let them escape and summoned a giant toad, transforming the surroundings. However, an explosion interrupted them, and Jiraiya was caught off guard by the sudden appearance of a ninja in green who struck him. Yun recognized the newcomer as Guy, an expert in taijutsu from Konoha. She urged him to take Naruto and Sasuke back to the village for their safety. Guy agreed, and Yun prepared to continue the search for Tsunade with Jiraiya. After a brief rest, Yun informed Jiraiya that Guy had taken Naruto and Sasuke to Konoha. Jiraiya acknowledged they would continue their mission alone. Yun asked what he would teach her next, and Jiraiya explained they would work on the Rasengan, a technique of the fourth Hokage that he had never fully mastered. Curious, Yun asked about adding elemental chakra to it, and Jiraiya confirmed they would start with her preferred elements, lightning and fire. They set off to find Tsunade, and Yun used her Jujutsu to spot a woman with a significant amount of chakra in a nearby bar. After a short while, they found Tsunade, who was surprised to see Jiraiya. Yun realized this was the legendary Sannin. Jiraiya explained that the advisors had decided Tsunade should become the fifth Hokage, but she vehemently refused, stating she would never return to the village. Yun, feeling bold, challenged Tsunade, asserting that she wasn't fit to follow in the footsteps of the previous Hokages. Tsunade attempted to strike Yun, but she evaded the attack with ease, taunting the older woman. Tsunade, intrigued by Yun's confidence, agreed to a wager. If Yun could defeat her in combat, Tsunade would return to Konoha and accept the position of Hokage. They moved outside to begin the duel, with Jiraiya cautioning Tsunade not to harm his student. As the fight commenced, Yun swiftly dodged Tsunade's attacks, showcasing her agility. When she unleashed her Rasengan, Tsunade was impressed but reminded Yun that she still had much to learn. Yun revealed her strategy was not to defeat Tsunade but to immobilize her. In a surprising move, she cut her hand with a kunai, demonstrating her determination. Tsunade, realizing the stakes, conceded the match, acknowledging Yun's skill. Yun then made her request. She wanted Tsunade to train her. After some consideration, Tsunade agreed. The following day, the group of 4 set off for Konoha to proclaim Tsunade as the 5th Hokage. Upon their arrival, Shikaku introduced Tsunade to the villagers, who welcomed her back with cheers. Shikaku guided Tsunade to her new office, where they discussed the upcoming Chunin exams that had been postponed after the 3rd Hokage's passing. He recommended Yun and Ayumi Uchiha for their impressive performance during the trials, and Tsunade agreed to bring them in for further evaluation. Chapter end. Ayumi wondered if Tsunade had called for them. Tsunade informed them that Shikaku had reported their results from the Chunin exams. Yun's excitement bubbled over as she realized what it meant. Tsunade congratulated them, stating that they would officially become Chunin of Konoha. Ayumi expressed her reluctance to wear the ninja vest, while Yun eagerly accepted it. Tsunade handed the vest to Yun and mentioned that Shikaku had noted their impressive skills, leading her to propose that she could teach them medical ninjutsu or find a jounin to train them. Ayumi preferred to start training in kenjutsu, and Tsunade agreed. An umbu appeared beside the Hokage, and Tsunade introduced Karasu, who would begin training Ayumi in kenjutsu the next day. Yun expressed her desire to learn medical ninjutsu, and Tsunade instructed her to come the next morning at 8 to start. The 2 girls decided to share the good news with Kakashi. They quickly used Shunshin to reach Kakashi, who was surprised by their enthusiastic greeting. Ayumi announced their promotion to Chunin, and Kakashi expressed his happiness for them. However, he revealed that he had encountered some trouble with Sasuke and Naruto, who had gotten into a fight. Yun asked if they were okay, and Kakashi reassured them that he had arrived just in time to stop the conflict. He then presented them with a gift to celebrate their promotion, 2 kunai with 3 points, similar to those of Minato, along with 2 masks like his own. Ayumi inquired about the kunai, and Kakashi explained that his sensei had given them to him, saying they would appear if he was in trouble. He then revealed that he was giving them to those he cherished most. Both girls thanked Kakashi, and he suggested they celebrate at the Akimichi restaurant. Yun proposed inviting Kurinai, and after confirming she would join them in 30 minutes, they set off. 30 minutes later, everyone gathered at the Akimichi restaurant. Kurinai congratulated the girls, who expressed their gratitude. She presented them with a small gift, 2 katanas bearing the Uzumaki symbol. When Yun asked about the clan, Kurinai explained it was her teacher's clan, which had gifted them the swords upon their own promotion to Chunin. After 2 hours, Kakashi reminded the girls it was time to leave since they had training the next day. Yun was surprised he knew, and Kakashi revealed that Tsunade had informed him. The girls prepared to depart, bidding farewell to their senseis. Kurinai wondered if Kakashi thought the girls would reach such heights, to which Kakashi admitted he was unsure. Kurinai remarked on their prodigious talents, and Kakashi acknowledged they couldn't let their students surpass them so quickly. They agreed to train harder, reminiscent of their earlier days. The next day, Tsunade scolded Yun for being late, to which Yun explained she had celebrated with Kakashi, Ayumi, and Kurinai. Tsunade decided to let it slide this time. A month later, Yun asked Tsunade what they would do that day. Tsunade informed her that it was the last day of her training, and Yun was taken aback. Tsunade told her to take a day off, as her new sensei would arrive in a week. Later that afternoon, Tsunade summoned the genin of Konoha, including Yun. She explained that they had an emergency mission, with Yun as the leader. Yun was shocked to learn that Sasuke Uchiha had left the village. Tsunade emphasized the urgency, noting that they were the only ninjas available. She mentioned that Ayumi was on a mission with her sensei and instructed Yun to choose 5 ninjas to search for Sasuke. Pointing to the 9 rookies, Yun selected Choji, Niji, Kiba, Naruto, and Shikamaru, declaring they would depart immediately. The 6 ninjas set off in pursuit of the rogue Uchiha. Yun instructed Niji to use his Byakugan to locate Sasuke, who was found in a strange box. They needed to move quickly, and the group sped ahead. Meanwhile, the Sound Four discussed their priority of bringing Sasuke to Orochimaru. They decided to split up to face the Konoha ninjas, with Kidamura outlining their plan. Back with Yun, Niji alerted her that the enemy was separating. Yun realized they wanted to challenge them one-on-one and devised a strategy. Choji would face the first opponent, followed by Kiba, Niji, and Lee, while she and Naruto would search for Sasuke. The battles unfolded similarly to the anime. Yun faced off against Kimimaro, telling Naruto to find Sasuke while she dealt with the enemy. Kimimaro attempted to attack Naruto with his bone techniques, but Yun intervened, declaring she would fight him. As they clashed, Kimimaro acknowledged her strength, and Yun activated her Sharingan, determined to protect her family. The fight intensified, and despite Kimimaro's advantage, Yun managed to land a decisive blow, defeating him. As the battle continued in the Valley of the End, Sasuke, empowered by his cursed mark, and Naruto, transformed with the Nine-Tails chakra, engaged in a fierce clash of Rasengan versus Chidori, with Sasuke emerging victorious. He contemplated killing Naruto but realized Yun would soon arrive. Minutes later, Yun arrived, frustrated at her late timing. She spotted Naruto on the ground and regretted not finishing Kimimaro sooner. As she began to heal him, Kakashi arrived, witnessing Yun's distress and her efforts to save Naruto. Yun felt a heavy weight on her shoulders as she faced Kakashi. She expressed her regret, believing she had failed. Kakashi reassured her, insisting that it wasn't true. He reminded her that she had given her all, bravely confronting Orochimaru's strongest ninjas. After the mission, everyone returned to Konoha. Tsunade called for Yun to report on the mission. Yun explained that it had ended in failure. They managed to defeat Orochimaru's subordinates, but Sasuke had used his mark to confront Naruto and emerged victorious. Tsunade listened carefully and then informed Yun that she needed to leave the village with Jiraiya. He would train her and help her overcome the recent events. Yun was surprised and questioned why Jiraiya wasn't training Naruto instead. Tsunade explained that there had been a change of plans. Yun accepted this, inquiring about the duration of her journey. Tsunade replied that it would last 3 years. Yun nodded, understanding her sensei's decision. Tsunade instructed her to meet Jiraiya at the entrance of Konoha the following day at noon. The next day, Jiraiya greeted Yun, asking if she was ready. She affirmed that she was, and they set off together, embarking on a new chapter of her journey. Naruto decided to embark on a new journey, inspired by the legends of her world. She began her training with the hope of becoming stronger and more skilled. This new chapter in her life marked the start of a transformative adventure.